Good morning, everyone. I hope you are having a good day today as the last day of the week, and I hope you're finishing out the week after having a good week. Thank you for joining us today. We want to cover a few things in the next hour, give or take. One is spring opening. This is the welcome part of the agenda. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the spring, a little bit about your money, and then a little bit about the university's budget. I'll be covering the spring opening and the money part about your money. And then Ray Salier will walk us through the budget presentation, both of which will be brief. But what we'd like to do is get through that and then give you time to ask any questions you may have about anything you want to ask a question about. How are we handling questions, Monique? Is it raise your hand? Is it ask to speak, or is it chat? Do we know?
Typically, we use chat. Jay, you want to opine on that?
Yes, we'll be using the chat and then the Q&A.
Chat and Q&A. Okay, folks. So that's the process we have in place. All right, let's go to the slide where we start talking. Done with the welcome. Here's the spring opening. So we've said it before, but I want to say it again because I think it's important, and I want to make some clarity about what is happening with the COLAs. So it's a 3% cost of living adjustment. It's for all non-union employees, all NEA members, all SEIU members. Now, the exception is for AFSCME members, because you know the AFSCME contract is negotiated by the mayor's team down at the Wilson's building, and we have to pay for whatever they negotiate. But until they finish the negotiations, we can't assume what that outcome is going to be. And so the 3% cost of living adjustment will not apply to AFSCME members. Just want to make that clear in case there was some confusion. We're going to take this to the Board of Trustees for approval on the 14th. We are assuming that they will approve it. And then after the bureaucracies do what they do, we expect that it will show up in your March paycheck. But the payments will be retroactive to October 1st. And so you won't lose any money during the fiscal year. You just have to wait a while for that payment to get started. So there's that. We also have for the NEA faculty a one-time lump sum payment, except for the law school faculty because they are not part of the NEA. And we expect that'll be around $500,000 out of the budget to cover that cost. And then the last point there is what we've already mentioned, which is the AFSCME negotiations are ongoing, and we cannot insert ourselves into that process. Okay, next slide. There's been a lot of questions about Backus and moving and packing and timing, and this is the bottom line. We expect that we'll be completely out of there by December 15th. There will be several open houses for people who have not been there and want to see what the space is like. Friday, December 3rd from 1 to 4. I don't think you have to make a reservation. You just need to show up and go take a look. And also on Tuesday, December 7th. If you need details on that, Javier and David Franklin are in charge of that process. And I think the people that are mainly involved are in Dr. Potter's shop and in Dr. Latham's shop. And so if you have any questions or if there's some confusion about what's going on, you can ask here or you can follow up with any one of those four people. Next slide. Spring opening. January 3rd is the return date. Ongoing alternate schedules. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure that if you know what that is, then you have that under control. PCR testing available. And so we're going to have testing available for people who want to be tested. Some are required to be tested. like the student athletes or people with exemptions. And so they have a scheduled test. Their tests are already scheduled. But anybody else that wants to be tested, you can register online and go in and get a test. We'll have pre-holiday testing available on December 7th and 8th. And then the next COVID town hall meeting is on December 9th. We weren't going to reduce the frequency of these town hall meetings, but with this new variant out there, we're kind of watching it. Nobody really knows what's going on with it. It doesn't seem to be, dangerous as far as, the severity of the symptoms, but we really don't know. So we're going to tell you what we know on December 9th, and then we'll talk a little bit about testing when we return from the holidays at that December 9th town hall meeting. Okay. And so with that, I hope you took your notes so you can ask me questions later. But now we're going to pass it on to Ms. Lear to talk about the budget. Raisa.
Well, good morning, everyone, and hello to all who have joined us. Again, my name is Raisa Lear. I'm the Executive Director for Business Affairs. And we're just going to take a little bit of time, as President Mason mentioned this morning, to talk through just a few notes on the budget. If we can move to the next slide, please. So first, we want to highlight the FY22 operating budget, our budget for this year. You can see the budget broken out in the pie chart to the right on the slide, and you'll notice that, first of all, our total operating budget is $218 million in fiscal year 22, and the biggest slices of that pie are $91.2 million in local appropriated funds. That's the money we get from the district. That's the biggest portion of the pie. But also a large portion of the pie this year are our federal grants. We have $75.6 million in federal grant dollars, and a big chunk of that is coming from the Higher Education Emergency Relief Funds, or HERF funds, are the COVID dollars that the university has received in federal grants, and a big part of our budget for FY22. Next slide, please. Now, there's some key items we want to highlight. As I mentioned, the HERF funds are a big part of the budget in FY22. So that $49 million in HERF funds is a key part of our activities this fiscal year. The use of the HERF funds was developed as a comprehensive spending plan developed with all major units in the university. So getting input from academic affairs, student success, office of the president. And the funds are going to be used in several key ways. First, to defray revenue loss, and that's going to be defraying revenue loss due to enrollment declines caused by the pandemic, so a very key one for the university. Reduction of student account balances. We've done this, and we're going to continue on with this with our HERF funds. And then meeting operational, academic, and student success needs across the institution. And you've already probably seen some of this. We've done some need-based tuition for students. We are initiating programs to address learning loss. We've been providing student meals. We are providing technology, including laptops for students, free student books, and graduates in FY21-22 will receive a free semester. So a lot of different initiatives as part of the use of these funds. Now, these funds are set to expire this fiscal year, but the university anticipates that we should get a no-cost extension from the feds, and so some of that funding will roll into next fiscal year or fiscal year 23. Next slide, please. Now, we also want to highlight in FY22 enhancement funds received, and this I think is really important to share with you all because it highlights the university's success when it comes to advocacy. So the university typically in any given year has asked for additional funds to cover key initiatives. And last year in particular, we asked for funds that would support critical pipelines, educational pipelines here in the university. This included teacher preparation or education pipeline, healthcare prep, and technology/STEM. When it came to the teacher preparation pipeline, we actually had asked for about $500,000 in an enhancement, and we were looking for those funds to recur. And we are very pleased to report that we did receive additional funds to our base budget that are recurring. So those funds will be used not only to provide supplies and materials for that program, but also to allow for some additional hires to support that work and to cover some student tuition and fees as part of that program. We also requested about $500,000 each for healthcare prep and tech and STEM, and through partnership with the Workforce Investment Council, we are establishing an MOU that will allow us to get additional dollars, $2.09 million for supplies, equipment, tuition, and those will support nursing and information technology programs. Additionally, as we've talked about a lot in our budget conversations, we've consistently made requests for capital enhancement dollars. We need to make sure that we're accounting for additional capital improvements that we want to make at our various sites. In FY22, we received two pieces of enhancements that we want to highlight here. We received $7.5 million for the capital side of the Amazon Web Services build-out to increase capacity for our STEM and IT programs, so that's capital funds. And then we received $550,000 for Backus beautification, which is looking at improving the exterior, doing some landscaping, new fencing. So very exciting initiatives that are specific to FY22. Next slide, please. Now, as we look at the capital budget as a whole, you'll see in this slide that in the first column where it says retain, we have $163.5 million in the capital budget. That's from our FY22 to FY27 capital improvement plan. And of course, as I've mentioned, as we're going into the budgeting conversations for FY23 and beyond, our FY23 to 28 request has additional dollars that we are requesting to continue the good work when it comes to capital improvements. You'll notice some of the key programs or items and projects. I won't go through all of them here, but some key projects to highlight are the 4250 Connecticut Avenue renovations. I want to make sure that we're continuing with those, continuing with our plans for expansion at our Backus site. Still looking to do additional improvements at the Van Ness site and campus to include campus-wide roof, elevator, and window replacement, not to mention our mechanical, electric, and plumbing and HVAC upgrades. And then, of course, making sure that we have funding to purchase Old Congress Heights is something that we also want to highlight here. So overall, in FY23 to 28, the overall request is $422 million in capital funds. Next slide, please. Looking ahead at the FY23 budget, we are in the process of the FY23 budget development. That information has been shared with our board. It has been submitted downtown. We're in the process of having some of the initial conversations downtown as the mayor is going to be thinking about budget development for FY23. There's a few things we want to highlight here. So our anticipation first and foremost is that through our marketing and recruitment efforts, the university is expecting an enrollment increase in FY23. We're also, as I mentioned, anticipating that we will carry over some of those HERF grant dollars to help us and continue supporting in FY23. And then as part of our budget request, we are looking to request two particular enhancements. The first is the Student Equity Program. This is coming out of Dr. Latham's shop. $1.6 million is requested here, and the idea is that this program is to improve transition into the university, course completion, and also provision of more proactive, holistic support services. And this is for our traditional and non-traditional students, but with a particular focus on students that are coming in with a 2.5 to 2.9 entering GPA, who may come from socially disadvantaged backgrounds and, again, are not in a space where their academic performance is so concerning that we're not sure that they're college ready, but also not quite advanced so to the point where we are saying, oh, they don't need some additional supports to help make sure that they are able to progress in a timely fashion through their programs and ultimately succeed to graduation. So this is a key program that builds on other critical work that the Student Development and Success Office has been doing as it looks to improve enrollment and retention at the university. And then the second enhancement is investing in local talent and expertise. This is $3.3 million. The idea here is that this enhancement request is designed to help the university retain top talent. And one of the key ways we want to be able to do that is to ensure that we have regular funds in our budget to support cost of living increases. So this is requesting recurring funds to be added to our budget, increasing the personnel line in our budget to make sure that we can support regular cost of living increases for our staff and faculty. With that, I think that closes out the budget slides, and President Mason, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Raisa. I've been checking the chat, and so I'm going to answer a couple of questions there, but let me make a couple of points on the budget. So this is the budget that we are submitting for approval this upcoming for next year. just to make that clear. And you know how that works. We don't know at the end of the day what will be approved, what won't be approved. I hope you didn't miss the point that a large part of the budget that is balanced are these federal COVID dollars. And we're going to request that we get an extension to use them, but that has not been granted yet. That is a big part of the budget, though. And so if that doesn't happen, and we fully expect it will happen, then we'll be having a different conversation later on this year. And then the third thing is this, and this will help me make a couple of points. These HERF dollars, the federal dollars, are specifically for COVID-related expenses. And we have a situation now where our applications are actually back to pre-COVID numbers, and our conversion rate on those applications are actually back to pre-COVID numbers. But that's because we've improved our social media presence and our social media marketing and tracking and response through technology. Now, we thought we were going to be able to pay with that with federal funds, but they've actually denied our request that happen. And so that's about $1.2 million that is a possible hole in the budget. And we think we can figure it out without having to affect anything else. But if we can't, we may be looking at some minor reduction in non-salary funds, NPS dollars. We're not there yet. But in terms of full disclosure, I wanted you to know that that was hanging out there. Our expectation is that we will get the extension on the COVID dollars, and we will figure out how to keep the social media recruiting going. And so with that, let me, how we want to handle the questions, team? Do we want me to just read them and respond, or does somebody want to read them and I'll respond? Let's see here. See. Let me go to Laverne, maybe. I think
Yeah,
she
there are
asked.
really two questions that are essentially the same question down at the bottom about the lump sum. And of course,
Laverne, you asked about a lump sum for AFSCME. To be honest with you, that's the first I'm hearing of that. I didn't realize that a lump sum was part of the contract that was negotiated with the district. If it is, then let's follow up on that and show me where it is and what it is and how much it is. And we'll make sure that we meet whatever contractual obligations are required in your contract, in AFSCME's contract with the district. First floor building 48 has bad air quality problems. First, I'm hearing of that as well, but we have David and Javier on the phone. They will check it out. If there are problems, it will be fixed. But a lot of times people say there are problems and we check it out and the tests say there's no issue with the air quality. But if you have specific things that say that is not the case, then let's get in there and see what's going on. That's the retro payment again. Oh, and your other question was about Backus. Yeah, we think it's ready to move into, and it has been ready. It was ready even before we closed it down before COVID, and we've made enhancements since then. But if you didn't catch it, early in my presentation, I said that there are 2 open houses. I forget the dates, but we'll flash them back again before we get off. And so you can go see with your own eyes the condition of Backus and be comfortable with the fact that it's completely ready to move into. I see Jennifer Hall here. Will current nursing students receive any tuition assistance? The answer to that is yes, I believe, in a couple of ways. One, we have the money in place for need-based scholarships for all students, so that if you're Pell eligible or have a high family contribution based on the federal forms, then you shouldn't have to pay any tuition this semester or next. Plus, going into next year, and I have Dr. Potter here, But going into next year, we actually have a program that's funded through the district to provide scholarships for nursing students. Am I right about that, Dr. Potter?
You are correct. So once the MOU is completed with WIC, current nursing students at every level, at the CNA level, which is workforce development, at the associate's level, which is in the community college, and at the RN to BSN, will be eligible for those dollars. And once those dollars are situated and the MOU is signed and executed, the nursing program director faculties will be reaching out to eligible students, and it will continue through the fall.
Thank you. Now, next is Rosie Sneed. Blackboard Ultra runs slowly on older computers. Does the university, wait a second, Rosie, I've got a real small window here. Does the university have any plans to help students acquire access to newer computers? Well, a few things going on there. One, we do have a loaner program. Two, for incoming first-year students, we do have tablets, devices available. Three, we have a very state-of-the-art RISE Center that has a new name now. I forget the name. It's the Advanced Computing Center or something, Dr. Potter. What is it?
Center for Digital Access and Learning on the 6th floor of 4250.
Yeah, and so there we have new computers, individual safe learning pods. We have HyperFlex classroom facilities. And so if you don't have a computer, we don't have any plans right now to buy new computers for every student. But at that site, at that facility on the 6th floor of 4250, it is state of the art and it is open to any student that needs access to devices or connectivity. Let me see what's next here. Ernest Nelson, building 38 first floor. That's the second 38 first floor of air. Comment, David and Javier, we better get in and take a look. Will there be opportunities to tour the Backus site other than today and next week? Yeah, I think that, David, correct me if I'm wrong. Those are guided tours or open house tours that we're talking about on those dates. But the building is open, right?
Yes, the building is open. And again, if there are specific dates or that's needed to tour, we will accommodate as needed.
Right.
So just that question can be posed to me in terms of any dates that you are requesting, and our team will be, again, happy to accommodate.
Good. But do they need to make an appointment to go drop by and just look at Backus?
They don't need an appointment, but again, it probably will be helpful if we know that they're coming so we could, again, provide a tour and answer any questions on site.
Good. Thank you, David. Question about funds towards student enhancement. Let's see here. I know that we have a career system, but there are some students who are unable to obtain internships that helps towards sealing careers around their degrees, excluding IT and accounting. Can there be a team that will not just send students notifications about internships, but someone at the Career Center who have direct contact with the internships provided so students can be enrolled in an internship once break starts? Also, can the budget cover someone or a team that actually helps with the completion of internship applications so students can be better qualified? Okay, that's a long question. Let me say this. The Career Counseling Center is the link between us and the employers. That is in the Student Development and Success Office. I see Dr. Latham, who is driving in. I don't know if he's capable of talking, but I'm going to try to answer, so he may not have to. We have an active effort to continue to develop stronger and stronger relationships with employers in and around the DMV. The workforce training, WDLL, Workforce Development and Lifelong Learning Unit, is about to hire a partnership development specialist to make sure we have partnership relationships. And we have some money to put into developing internships for students to be paid internships. And so we're not where we want to be yet, but we are, I think, in a better place than we were a couple of years ago, and we're getting better. Why don't you do this? I'm going to ask Dr. Latham. I don't want him to get into an accident or anything out there. But why don't you just email him directly, or Dr. Potter? I don't know if you have any insights into this while you're here. And I'm sure they can give you more information about what our plans are going forward. Or if you're looking at, if you have an interest in a specific internship with a specific company, we might be able to help you facilitate that as well. And so let me go back and get your name here. This is R. Baskin. So Mr. or Ms. Baskin, send us an email and let's get a little more focused on your situation and what we can help you get done. Okay? Do you have an idea of when you will get with Laverne to resolve the COLA concern? Knowing Laverne, I'm guessing it'll be right after this town hall. And so Laverne, just email me and we'll track that down. Okay. Alarming that I am unaware. Well, I'm getting up in years, and sometimes I have those senior moments. I may have known and it got by me, but I honestly don't remember. And then with the step increases, look, whatever is in that AFSCME contract with the district, we have, at least in my mind, met our obligations. But if we haven't, your president will bring it to our attention and we will follow up immediately. I believe this is the only DC that does not receive step or salary increases. Well, that is true for the non-union employees. AFSCME, I believe, Deb, are you on? Did you hear the question? I see your face there. It says we are the only government agency that does not receive step or salary increases. I think that is true for everyone except AFSCME employees. Am I right or wrong?
So, President Mason, as most are aware, particularly union members, they are aware that the university and AFSCME have been in litigation regarding within grade increases. And so we're going to have to pause on that question. But right now, you are correct in terms of our non-union employees are the employees who have not received within grade step increases.
Gotcha. Okay, I forgot about that. That is a point of contention as we speak.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so you can't speak about it too much is what you're telling me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are students graduating in the spring still going to have a tuition-free semester? Yes. If you complete, if you graduate this year, fall or spring, then you will not have to pay tuition. Still going to answer that question. I'm a new faculty at SBPA and have not received a new work laptop yet. Is there a plan to purchase new laptops for new faculty? I think that's a question for your dean, unless I'm mistaken, because as my understanding, is that every faculty member gets the equipment they need to do their job, and so you should have a desktop available to you. And if you don't, talk to your dean, and if your dean says it's somebody else's job, then tell him to give the chief academic officer a call. I think that's the right answer to that question, right?
President Mason, you are correct. When faculty are hired, they are to have those conversations with their department chairs and deans do have some reserves. And if there are no reserves, deans have always been given guidelines and deadlines for asking for those kinds of equipment support. So.
Gotcha. Good. Thank you. And so, no, the campus is not doing vaccinations. That is at your CVS's, your Walgreens, and your doctor. I don't think the city is doing vaccinations either. We're doing testing here, but we're not offering vaccinations. Let's see now. Truwanda. Oh, that's Trulanda put William Latham's email in the chat about the internships. You're welcome, Mr. or Ms. Baskin. President Mason, I've been over and the list we generated regarding our concerns. This is from Laverne. Labor management meeting, never received a written response. We were told we would be. I don't know if they were shared with you. Okay, I see what you're saying, Laverne. If we drop the ball somewhere, let me, my team, are y'all looking at the chat, team? Can you see?
Yes,
I'll
you
read
can
it.
see it, and we'll
Okay.
capture it so we can,
Yeah, so it's a written, Laverne says they're looking for a written response to,
to their list of questions submitted previously.
Uh,
Because she sent it to you, sir. Laverne, if you'll just put it in the chat, we'll respond. Thank
a
you.
list of questions submitted to me regarding our concerns submitted on is that at a lunch, Laverne, I guess, after follow up from there? Anyway, we'll track it down. So please resend it if you sent it to me, and we'll get you some answers. Baskin's email is in the chat. Rimini Baskin. Offices for faculty in Backus and technology for faculty. Yeah, so go take the tour. Offices are being assigned and technology is being put in place. Brandy Hutterson, we previously had a program that would provide funding for our students that had non-paying internships. Is there a way to restart this program? ICEE, I believe it was called. Yeah, that was, I don't remember what the acronym stands for, but that was a privately funded program on civic engagement. That's what that's what the C and one of the E stands for. And the donor stopped giving us the money to do that program. It was a good program, but the money is not there now. And I don't remember who was, this is 2 or 3 or 4 years ago now. Who is asking this question? Let's see. Brandy Hutterson. Brandy, if you have some thoughts about how to regenerate it or how to pay for it, shoot us an email and we'll certainly talk about it. Career Services, Jared Moffitt, his email is in the chat, as well as the link to their services from Jared Moffitt. Look at the chat for Jared's answer to your question and offer to help. Dr. Moffitt. I'm a new faculty member. This is Crystal Dozier.
I can answer.
You have that one? Go ahead,
Yes.
Vice President Sullivan.
So, Professor Dozier, your name was given to the Faculty Association. I'll reach out to President Pearsall and ensure that they touch base with you. But you are in a bargaining unit position per your offer letter.
Gotcha. So David Cerna, FYI, if you need to book a COVID PCR test, Curative, who I think is our contractor, has kiosk around the DMV, and you can get the results the next day. Here is the link that is in the chat room there. Okay, that's the questions. And let me ask the panel if there's anything they want to communicate about spring opening or about the budget. And while we see if anybody else has any questions. Deb, go ahead.
I have a few things I'd just like to share with the group. Most of you might have seen the use or lose memo that went out. I'd like to share that the mayor and the university have decided to restore any leave that you were not able to use into 2022. So you don't have to call. That leave is going to roll over anything above 240 annual leave hours. And then the other thing we found out for those who received their time off award for uploading their vaccination in the PeopleSoft system, that doesn't expire. It will be there for you to use, but it will not be paid out should you decide to separate from UDC. And finally, it's still open enrollment for benefits. That will be ongoing until December 13th at 5 p.m. If you need assistance, we have drop-in hours here in HR, 7th floor, 4250, from 2 until 5 p.m. every day. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Sullivan. Anybody else with anything?
I would answer Jasmine Yaris's question. All information about the spring academic forum faculty professional development days will be included in my end of semester memorandum to the faculty, which goes out on the 17th.
Very good. And then the next one is the food court. Yes, we're going to start construction. David, you stop me if I'm wrong. Construction in January. I think that Chick-fil-A is going to be one of the anchor tenants in there. And what else do we need to know, David?
You're correct. We are starting construction on that site beginning in January. We anticipate that the completion of that space, we're looking at the end of the summer. One of the things that we're challenged with, along with every other institution in the country, is really a delay in our supplies. And that is really causing, we were hoping to have this completed by the spring, but because of the delay in getting supplies, we anticipate that that space will be fully renovated towards the end of the summer in anticipation for fall opening. There are a couple of national brands that we're looking to bring to that site. One of those is Chick-fil-A, as you mentioned. The other might be possibly Fuddrucker, along with continuing our partnership with that of Perkins Management.
Very good. Let's see, Jasmine Yarish, I think that might be for you, Lawrence. In the fall, we'll receive the information after 5 p.m. the Friday before. Can we expect more time between the announcements and the day of professional days?
Yeah, so I just answered that.
Same question? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Local has requested a list of concerns. That's the same. Okay, we got you, President Gooding. And so we're gonna answer you. Okay, same question again. Thank you, Dr. Potter. Town hall is being recorded, says Dr. Guillory, and so it will be available. And of course, you all know that we have open lines of communication. So, you know, as people talk about what happened in this town hall, and you go back and look at the recording, if you have the time and inclination to do so, you can always reach out and get answers to your questions. Will there be a food court at Backus eventually? Eventually, yes. How long eventually is, we're not sure. We have funds to actually expand Backus as part of the to be the new home of the community college. Now that we've moved out of 801, but I'll share this. There is a active conversation about, from the students' perspective, whether we are better off with the community college being on the Van Ness campus or with a separate facility at Backus. We'll put that question in the strategic planning process so we can get a sense of what you all think is in the best interest of the students, which is really the question. And then we'll make a call on that. I have my own thoughts, but other people have thoughts as well. And so we want to hear what the thoughts are. Let's see, do we need to upload the document of vaccine booster dose? Not as of now. We have not required that, but stay tuned. We may, depending on what the science says is necessary. The other thing is that, remember, we're requiring all students now to be vaccinated and upload, because we're going to have more online options as we sit here today. I mean more classroom face-to-face scheduled as we sit here today. We are watching the variant and we're watching the science, and if we have to make a call to pivot, we know we can do that, and we will. So stay tuned on all things COVID. But as of now, upload those vaccine cards and be prepared if you have to upload the updated card. And I think the latest, I think right now they're advising everybody to get a booster. Everybody who is eligible for a shot should get a booster. And so we'll let you know how that goes. Status of the building across the street. That is the old Walgreens building. Still a conversation, but the two things are, well, actually, let me not say what the two things on the table are because I don't want people to start, getting into a big debate about what should happen there. David, what can you say about 4225?
Oh, glad you shared that. All I can say is that we're exploring various options, both on the academic side of the house as well as the student development side of the house to utilize that space at 4225. But we do anticipate making a move on that very quickly because it has been vacant for quite some time and it isn't best use of our dollars to be paying rent and having the space unoccupied. So stay tuned.
Yes. But I think it's fair to say that sometime during the spring semester it will be in use.
Probably before then, President Mason.
Well then, gotcha. Thank you. In terms of the permanent location of the branch campus that we brand the community college, we'll put a process together, Brenda Brown, and we will have focus groups, discussion sessions, and probably a survey. But stay tuned on that one. We're going to make sure we get all input we can. Okay, thank you, Alice McFarland. I see you have an opinion there about that. And I could cut it both ways. I'm going to be in the conversation, trust me. Okay, so we didn't ask for a vote, but I'm getting votes there. Do we have funds to build a state-of-the-art simulation center? And so the sixth floor of 4250, as I understand it, will have simulation elements. Is that right, Dr. Potter?
That's correct, President Mason. The extended reality and virtual reality, but I think Professor Rogers is asking a state-of-the-art simulation space for nursing. And part of the capital dollars that we have been approved for the community college and workforce development may entail, once we understand the planning and outlay of Backus, may entail some funding for simulation.
Gotcha. And I guess it all depends on how much money we have to work with as well, right?
That's correct.
Gotcha. No, you don't have to re-upload for the spring if you've already uploaded in the fall. Has anyone taken a look at Chick's policy? We had a long conversation and we did a survey of the campus to see if that would be an issue. And in addition, if it is an issue, they are willing to come to campus and explain why, in their opinion, the perception is not the reality. But if folks want to have that conversation, let Dr. Latham know, and we will arrange it. Because we put the question to them when they said they wanted to be on campus. Deb, you answered the question there, right? You answered the question again. Okay. Are there still plans to renovate building 44? Interesting question. So we have two things on the table. One is housing. And if we do housing in the near future, which we think we will, one of the options is to tear down building 44 and build housing there. But also, if depending on the conversation about the community college, one of the options about building 44 is to renovate that as the community college. And so all of these are dominoes that have to be considered as we think about the next phase of building the great institution that we want the University of the District of Columbia to be. Is the new situational work for the spring semester been loaded to staff to requests? Deb?
Yes. So thank you, President Mason and Ms. Hansford, for your question. We'd love the telework forms to be submitted before you leave on holiday break. We would love to see that, but not later than January 7th on the week you return.
Yeah, do we need to get out a memo or something?
It's coming.
It's coming, good, okay. Thank you. As UDC looked to start a pipeline with companies to increase enrollment, Giant across the street offers a 5% discount for UDC purchases. You talked to Giant about classes for employees of Giant. We have not, but I really do think we have employees of Giant who are students at UDC, because when I go there, I see them. But to take that a step further, you know, we have moms coming into the 4250 building, and we've talked to them about internships and training programs and a pipeline from UDC into Giant. Also, let me mention this. You know, we have a contract with Pepsi, and Pepsi has agreed that they will hire UDC alumnus every year if we can provide them with someone who is qualified and interested in doing the work. I was very disappointed this past year that we couldn't get applicants to meet that bill. And so, you know, put the word out that not only is Mom coming with opportunities, but Pepsi already has one a year on the table for any UDC graduate, and we need to make sure that we get somebody in that pipeline every year. Is that the way to say it, Dr. Latham?
That's all true, President Mason. And also we're working with DCHR as well to develop pipelines for their employees and district government employees across the whole entire district to come into UDC for various levels of credentials. So that's a conversation we started this semester, and it's ramping up for the spring as we do a big rollout for the fall. So yeah, that's where we're headed.
Thank you. Strategic planning and self-study. The self-study, I'll punt to Dr. Potter. I don't think we have the mechanisms in place to make sure we get it done timely and adequately. I don't think we've actually started the study yet, but I'm going to let Dr. Potter answer that. On the strategic planning, we are going to engage a consultant, probably starting early spring semester, to help us design a broad-based process to make sure all voices are engaged in us thinking through the future of the university. Anything on the self-study, Dr. Potter?
On the middle state self-study, we have our midpoint peer review that is due in the fall. The annual institutional updates have been submitted on an annual basis as required by middle states. Those feed into the midpoint peer review. The self-study process will not begin before spring of 23. Thank
you. You're right. Giant stopped offering the discounts, I think, when the pandemic started. When things calm down, we hope that they will bring them back. Join the Capital Bike Share program for students. That has not come up in any conversation I've been in. I don't know why we would need to join it since they have bike share stations all around the campus. But if you have some thoughts on that, let me see who that is. Is that Eric Mueller? Yes, if you have some thoughts on that, Eric, we'd be happy to hear them. Self-study is 24-25. Thank you, Dr. Krozik. President's Holiday be virtual. Well, as of now, it's in person, the President's Holiday. No, it's never a requirement. It's just free food and door prizes. And if you want to join us and have a good time, you're welcome to. If you don't want to, you are not required. We can't force people to have fun. Not sure about students, but DC government employees are eligible for a capital bike share discount. Okay, if that's your point, I don't know whether we're eligible or not. Anybody know answer to that question? I see you nodding, Deb.
Staff are eligible for a discount as part of the benefit package under DC government. We would have to look and see if students could be included.
Gotcha. And there's a link from Catherine Meals about how we get that done.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you to Catherine and Eric.
And Eric.
Yes. What is the status of all the smart boards on? You know, man, that's a good question. And I have not gotten a really good answer yet. What is the answer to that question, folks?
Yeah, so Franklin here, I'll take a quick stab at it. Again, what are we waiting for as far as the smart boards are concerned are the stands to hold the smart boards up. And as I shared earlier in the conversation, we've been trying to get these stands for a few months now, unsuccessfully, because a lot of these items are coming out of China. And of course, because of the delay, it's causing us some delays on our end in terms of implementing or installing those particular smart boards. So that's where we stand there. It isn't something that we are not aware of. Is again our inability to get the merchandise or the equipment in place to be able to stand up those smart boards.
Can just add to that, the latest information I just received today morning from our vendor. Right now, the wait time for it is around 27 days, and we are in the process of getting the code refreshed, and we'll have that in the requisition today or first thing on Monday morning, as soon as we get that from the vendor. So we can anticipate 27 days delivery time, and after that, it'll be we will be deploying that across whatever was the original plans for the smart boards.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know him, that is our Vice President for Information Systems, Mr. Suresh. What's your last name, Suresh?
Murugan.
There you go. Alice McFarland says for everybody to speak up. Check your volume, Alice. Any news regarding HERF supplemental funding? Not beyond the last bucket that was approved for us, which is in the 23 budget. The finals, all of us presidents, HBCU presidents, including me, signed a letter for the president to keep his commitment in the upcoming budget bill, but we don't know what's going to happen there. The law school is going back to 100% in-class instruction, so faculty will need to get ready. Can we get a monthly parking pass to park in building 52 garage? David, can you answer that, or should we just go back afterwards and figure out an answer?
Yeah, I mean, I could take a stab at it. Building 52 garage, there's limited space in there. There aren't a lot of spaces available in that particular location. On top of that, we have sent out or issued permits for many of the spaces that are currently being occupied. So that, I don't believe that is an option. I think at the end of the day, we can look possibly at making space available in our main garage here on building 3839, but the law school building 52, there just isn't adequate space there that would allow us to afford or meet that request.
Yeah, David, while you're here, I'm not trying to spring something on you, but what's the deal with the parking in 4250? What's the story there?
Yeah, building 4250, we are still working on getting the access gates up and working at that particular space. As it stands, as you know, part of that is with moms, so we're still working out the entry points that moms will occupy versus that of UDC. So we anticipate, again, President Mason, for the spring semester, hopefully we'll have that, at least that ironed out, where we can make that building available to our staff and faculty.
Thank you. And so, Ray Sayon, that answers your question. Yes, we were talking about Mom's Organic Market. Let's see now. What is the update on WebEx from Cisco and UDC email security and consistency? All right. So here's another domino effect. I need to make sure that cybersecurity and the security of our systems is taken care of as a top priority, and I've talked to our new VP about that, and all of the cabinet. But there is a long list of things that have been waiting to be done by our new vice president that impact everything in all of our lives. But I think we're going to have to bite the bullet and make sure that security is taken care of, because if we have to go through what happened at Howard, all of the things that we're trying to get done now will end up being delayed significantly anyway. And so you can see that Dr. Latham and Dr. Potter are not thrilled about what I'm saying, but we're going to have to reboot our IT priorities to make sure that the security is taken care of so that can take care of everything else. I'm glad you asked that question because it gave me a chance to get some allies in that process. What is the new plan for residents of the District of Columbia for UDC? We don't have a plan yet, but we are engaged in conversations with potential developers about doing a P3 partnership where we could develop a facility on campus somewhere without the need for district funds. That's all we have right now. The conversations haven't gone any further, but our hope is that we can have those conversations and have housing on campus for students sometime in the next 3, maybe 4 years. That's Ernest Nelson asked that question. Angeline Flower, if you bought a year-long parking permit in August, once parking is available in 4250, will that be sufficient for access and exit? You know, David, I think I recall there being a difference between how we're handling 4250 parking and the building 30 and the other parking. Am I right about that?
You are, right? So we have not put together a full plan as it pertains to the utilization of 4250 in terms of parking. So that is still being flushed out in terms of whether it will be accessible to students, staff, and faculty, or just a limited population and leaving the main parking garage to all. So we're still working out those plans at this point, and a lot of that again is tied to the mom's deal that we just again secured earlier this year.
Gotcha. And Backus, that's open parking lot there, right? There's no passes required for that, is there?
No passes required at this point. Again, as we plan on doing, well, I think this will change to some degree, President Mason, as we planning to do the relocation from that of 801 to Backus. We will have to revisit the parking there because, again, that will increase the number of folks that will require parking, and we will need to come up with some plan to ensure that we're meeting those needs.
Of course.
That is still, and that is being flushed out at this point as well.
Thank you. Alice talks about phishing and how it's impacting students. There is a lot of that. And I'm sure all of you have gotten emails from somebody else that wasn't a real email, including from me. And student like home jobs for administrative assistants where they're making $100 an hour and don't have to go to work. Until we get the security situation fixed, that's going to be a problem. We just have to educate our students not to click on emails that look funny, as well as our faculty and staff. Suresh, I don't know if you have more to say about that, but until we get our double identity system in place, I don't know what to do about that. Go ahead.
Yes, currently we are in the process of the assessment of all the security deficiencies.
Speak up, Suresh, or turn up your volume, will you please?
Oh, now, right now we are in midst of our assessment for all the security deficiencies and vulnerabilities, and coming up with a extensive security program that'll address all the deficiencies within our system. One of the key things you did mention about the educational piece, there will be a security awareness program as part of the security initiative. The other initiative you mentioned is the multi-factor authentication, where it's two verifications of the account to validate the right person is accessing those accounts. There is a lot of back-end work in trying to secure our security infrastructure. So those are right now in the assessment and evaluation and planning phase. And that'll be something we will be deploying starting from Jan. We will be addressing those things while we are addressing other institutional priority projects. We cannot keep one on hold. This has to be done parallelly. So trying to balance those projects, those planning is going on currently.
Okay, Suresh, thank you. But I think Alice has a good idea there. We ought to get out a memo about these phishing scams and telling students not to be alert and not to click on odd-looking emails. So if we could follow up on that, David, Monique, and they have to read it, of course, but it can't hurt to say it more than once. Perhaps sending students the training through LinkedIn Learning. I don't know what that is, but there's the link. Let's check it out and see if it will help. LinkedIn Learning about avoiding phishing scams.
So, President,
go ahead.
I was going to say LinkedIn Learning is a subscription that Cal has provided for the entire institution, and these are videos that have been vetted, and they provide real kind of layman's approaches to understanding phishing. And so, Jasmine Yarish, thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. And Ernest Nelson speaks of an enterprise spam filter like Mimecast. I'm sure Suresh knows what that is, and we will take that note. And there's a link to that as well.
Yes, and we have deployed some versions of all the spam filtering. It is fine tuning them without causing any disruption to the day-to-day operational needs. We can fine tune it to an extent where there won't be any flow of information or messages, but we have to be conscious of what our business needs are and balance that with the security needs. That's where we are right now. In terms of multi-factor authentication, we will be turning that on shortly. We are right now in the testing phase, and we will be going live on December 15th, and we will be sending out some. We'll be sending out communication related to it. We are in the last stage of testing and testing those applications and removing any bugs concerned with that. And we are waiting on till the end of the final the exam week so that it doesn't cause any disruption to students or faculty or staff, and it is done after that critical week is over. So that's what we are planning right now.
Okay, thank you. A. Hansford suggests that you set up your email account so that they go to junk mail and not the inbox. Words to the wise. Okay, good. This works out great. That's the last question, and we're not going to ask any more because we scheduled an hour. And if we need to do another, wait, did I miss one? Let me see. If we need to do another town hall, we will. President Mason, is it permissible for faculty to have general fireside supportive chats with students and families during the holiday break via WebEx? No, not intended to be therapeutic. I don't know that there's an issue with chatting with your students and or their parents during the break. Does anybody see a problem with that? If a faculty member wants to do it, I think it's good. If you think it'll help further the learning process with the student, I think it's a nice idea. Anybody have a problem? Okay.
I don't think it's a problem, President Mason, particularly given context and it's voluntary.
Yeah. And it sounds like a good idea, really. Also, are we looking into getting into everyone's subscription to Headspace as a holiday gift? Maybe so. We'll take a look and see.
That.
In fact, I think that has come up already. And so, Dr. Guillory, take a note. Let's see what it is. Let's see if we can do that. Maybe we'll give it out at the Christmas party. Okay, folks, we're going to call it here. Thank you for your questions. This does not end the conversation. If you have more questions, send them in and we'll answer them in the usual fashion. I do appreciate your cooperation, consideration, and commitment to the University of the District of Columbia. Thank you, Raisa, for that great presentation. Thank you to the cabinet and to the vice presidents for weighing in when necessary. And let's finish this semester out strongly, and get a good rest and come back and start the next semester even stronger. Okay? Thank you all. Have a good day. See you next time. Go Firebirds.